The Colorado Buffaloes have made their quarterback decision, and it's the wrong one. I've got 3 reasons why Prime should have turned to the freshman, Julian Lewis, and I'll give them to you coming up next. All right, Buffs fans, let's get into this. So we had the report that they wanted to get a more veteran quarterback. They wanted to get some leadership there at the quarterback. And we'll hear from Prime on that in a couple of minutes. I say you have to go to Julian Lewis. You have to turn to the freshman. And here's why. First and foremost, the biggest, most scary reason, he's going to leave, guys. Julian Lewis will leave Colorado. This is the era of the transfer portal, the era of if I can't get what I want right now, I am gone. Julian Lewis will leave. Prime got him here. You go back and forth with USC and you win the battle. It was a big win for Deion last year. But you tell me, you put yourself in an 18-year-old kid. We've all been 18 before, right? I come, I get a big payday. I thought I was going to be big man on campus. Then you're the 3rd-string quarterback, the 2nd-string quarterback. What is even Julian Lewis up there in the eyes of Prime? So you get promised all these things. There's a literal picture out there on the internet of Deion Sanders handing the keys to Julian Lewis when he's sitting in that big crown king chair. He hasn't got the keys yet. So you get promised all these things. None of them are delivered. You're on a bad football team. That's what Julian's on right now. And then you're not playing at all. Again, put yourself in his shoes at 18. Why would you stay? Why would you hang around? Reason number 1 why Julian needs to play is because if he doesn't and you're bad, he's leaving. And he's going to go to USC. You seen USC play this season, in an early college football season? They look all right. Certainly look way better than the Buffaloes. So that's first and foremost. You better play Juju before he is gone and playing for another football team. Second reason, maybe I should have made this the first, honestly. Do you not want to see, check that, do you not need to see Pat Shurmur and Julian Lewis work together? And if it's not going to work, just like Julian might go, get Pat the heck up out of here. If Pat can't change his offense to make it work, and we haven't seen Pat change any offense. Shedeur made him look good with some of his play last year, and Pat came into this season with the same exact offense, even though they planned on going with a running quarterback in Caden Salter. I need to see before next year when Julian's a sophomore and we're down to just 2 years left with him at the up in Boulder on the roster. I need to see if it's going to work. I can't get into 2026 weeks 1 through 4 figuring it out and then going, well, we got to figure out a new offensive coordinator because Pat Shurmur stinks. I need to see the 2 of them work together so that we and I can make the decision whether or not you move forward with Pat and Julian or you go find somebody that can make it work with Julian Lewis and can get him ready for the NFL level. Pat clearly did not do that with Deion Sanders. So, 1, Julian Lewis is going to leave if he doesn't play. And number 2, we need to make sure Pat Shurmur does leave if he and Julian cannot make it work as play caller, offensive game planner, offensive coordinator, and quarterback. That is a big one. And then number 3 here, this kind of goes to that timeline that I was talking about. If Julian's the real deal and he comes in this season, I think it should be starting this weekend against Wyoming. But he comes in this season and shows some flash. All right, like I said, you either figure it out with Pat Shurmur or you do have to go and find yourself a new coordinator. You bring Brian Leftwich in, who's kind of around there, and you give him a little bit bigger of a role. Be a big name. Everybody's going to know it. Obviously, the NFL ties to Tom Brady, Super Bowl championship, as a coordinator, all that good stuff. You would bring him in. But if you do this right by starting Julian Lewis now, you answer those questions that I'm talking about prior to this 3rd final key here. You can now look at, all right, this year is about figuring it out, getting his feet wet, letting the game slow down for him. Next year, you hit the ground running. You hit the transfer portal and you go, y'all see Julian Lewis? You're that missing piece at wide receiver. You're that missing piece at tight end. You're that missing piece in our running back room. And you go bring playmakers to make Julian's life easier. So that this year would be about development, getting the game to slow down a little bit for Julian, and then next year's about contending and making some real noise just in the Big 12, right? You look at this as like a 3-year plan. Year 1, you develop, you figure out who he is. Year 2, you start to contend. Maybe you get yourself in the conversation once again for a Big 12 championship game. And then in that 3rd and final year, if he's the real deal, he's only going to hang around for 3 years. and then he's eligible for the NFL draft, and he'll go get drafted and make a boatload of money and play football on Sundays. And then in that third and final year, then you could really be talking about something special up there with Julian and Colorado. So if you're a contender in the Big 12 in year 2 because you hit the ground running in year 1, then in year 3, we're talking about college football playoff. Things go right 100%. Hosting a playoff game, getting into the second round of a playoff game means more money for the university, checking boxes for Deion. You're getting those incentive checks, all that good stuff. You got to hit a bunch of green lights for that to go down. But it can't start until Julian begins as the starter. The Julian Lewis era should have begun today. Actually, yesterday when Deion met the media. And now it doesn't look like it's going to. I think that's a huge, huge mistake for Deion Sanders. You might lose Julian. You don't know if Julian Lewis and Pat Shurmur can even make it work as a duo. And if you do this thing right, there's a 3-year plan that could end with college football playoffs. Because right now, they're going nowhere. You're not a player in the Big 12. You're going to be lucky to be bowl eligible. Why wouldn't you just start with Julian Lewis? So that decision was made. But I do want to go back to something that we heard yesterday and something that Deion Sanders said about quarterbacks.
I don't care what kind of car we pull up in. Long as we pull out of here with a W, I'm good. So I don't really get into the identity thing, not whatsoever. I would like to do some things better. We like to stop the run. We like to run the ball. We like to be consistent offensively and defensively. We'd love to do those things better, but I can't be narrowed down with, what's your identity? What does that mean? What does that mean, what's your identity? I don't even know what that means.
What you're known for.
Excuse you?
What you're known for. What you do best. What you hang your hat on.
I don't think we can hang our hat out. Like Ohio State won the national championship, right? What did they hang their hat on? Running the football. But they had two runners. You can't hang your hat on 2 running backs. That's not nothing to hang your hat on. It's got to be on. Everybody got 2 running backs.
2 running backs can kick your butt.
They can't kick your butt without the line.
Are you kidding me that you're asking about identity? You know what this does in the last 2 weeks of Deion's press conferences? So he gives you this about the identity nonsense. Let me use his word, the identity bull junk. Remember last week when he was talking about having a solidified quarterback? He actually asked the question, what's a solidified quarterback? As if you don't know. Don't play dumb with us, Deion. You're actually insulting our intelligence. Talking about solidified quarterbacks and not knowing or having to have an identity. I say it all the time. You know what good football teams do? Good basketball teams, hockey teams, baseball teams. Pick your sport. If you're good at something, I can walk up to you, right? Me and Dan Chavez are going to crush a couple chumps playing some 2-on-2 hoops. I know that we're good enough. I'm going to go tell our opponents, hey, Dan's going to come set a screen for me right there. I'm going to take the high side of that screen, and then I'm going to knock down a beautiful left-handed jumper right here in your face. And I know I have that skill set in me that I can tell you where I'm going. I'll put an X on the floor. Meet me there. I'm still going to make my jump shot. That's what identity is. Identity for the Colorado Buffaloes should be we're running the hell out of the football to make our quarterback's life easier. Our identity for the Colorado Buffaloes should be we built the trenches so much in the portal and we trust so much in this stud that is Jordan Seaton that we could tell you on first down, we're taking that gap. Meet me there. On second down, we'll take that gap. Meet me there. Identity matters in all walks of life. To say you don't have one, what are you doing, Deion Sanders? That makes you look like you don't know what you're doing. And that's twice now that you've sat in front of a professional podium and not sounded or looked like you knew what you were doing. And one more right here from my man Scott Proctor. He covers the Buffaloes for the DNVR crew over there. This is that thing. And again, now we got some more information after this tweet came, but you can read it there. Coach Prime says he hasn't decided on the quarterback situation this week, looking for leadership and consistency. Consistency? Who in the quarterback room has been consistent? Caden Salters and his minimal opportunities to be the leader of this team? Ryan Staub having one good drive in the Houston game, and it's the 2-minute drive where you're going no huddle and you're not allowing them to sub? Is that consistent? Or Julian Lewis where we can't complete a pass or convert a first down? Who's consistent in the quarterback room? You know what I'm looking for, Deion? I'm looking for leadership and consistency out of you, and I haven't seen it yet. Sure would like to. You're getting paid $10 million. They made the wrong choice this week. Should have went with Julian. You should have started the Julian Lewis era right now. And because you're not, you're just kicking the can down the road for real success with Julian Lewis. I'm a little worried about what's going on up in Boulder. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope I have to eat these words. But until then, I'm going to continue to question what Deion Sanders has going on. And if you're one of his groupies, let me know why you're so confident. I'm not even trying to be funny. Seriously, meet me in the comment section here. Why are you confident in Deion Sanders? I don't think you have any ground to stand on, but I'd love to have that conversation with you. And while you're here, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff we ask you to do on YouTube. This has been Dover on Denver, and now I'm done.